stay full. I'll break the chains, take the pain to save you. Save you. Baby, I've been high and low. All the feelings I won't show. It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off alone. Pretty little fears I got, second guessing every shot. I won't lie, no I won't lie. I'm free but now I'm lost. Freedom comes at a cost. I won't lie, not this time. It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off alone. Ain't nothing we haven't tried. I'll sing you one last goodbye, and I won't think twice. So, ready or not, I'll go. I'm setting you free for sure right now. Don't ask me how.
Thought I had her in a loose grip, that I'd take my time. She keeps calling and she just won't quit, and we all know why. Screws tried to lure me right into an affidavit. Fear mommy as I'm falling in, I'm out of time. I'm caught up in your tongue, they say. You claim that you love me, but it's just another play. I'm stuck inside your room all day. You say it's for my safety, but I'm just one of your prey. She's got a gun and a bag and she's waiting for you. She has the time to decide how she's gonna kill you. You can keep running, keep your eyes wide open, but you never see it coming, no use. She's got a gun and a bag and she's waiting for you. She's got a gun and a bag and she's waiting for you. Hidden kisses always felt so sweet that they left me blind. Making promises we just can't keep, and it felt so right. Screws tried to lure me right into an affidavit. Fear mommy as I'm falling in, I'm out of time. I'm caught up in your tongue, they say. You claim that you love me, but it's just another play. I'm stuck inside your room all day. You say it's for my safety, but I'm just one of your prey. She's got a gun and a bag and she's waiting for you. She has the time to decide how she's gonna kill you. You can keep running, keep your eyes wide open, but you'll never see it coming, no use. she's waiting for you. She's getting caught in a bag, she's waiting for you.
Welcome to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League, broadcasting from the Boise State Esports Arena. Tonight, we kick off our spring season. 4 teams enter tonight, all hoping to claim next week's Spring Rumble title. Who will clinch our grand final spot that is up for grabs tonight? I'm your host, Jacob Palmer, joined by Colby D'Angelo Alloway to call all of the action for you here tonight. And so, Colby, I understand we have a very interesting set of teams. 3 Esports Tower teams, 1 high school team, and what are the stakes they're fighting for?
So right now we're fighting for the grand final spot, as you mentioned, which is pretty big, and all the teams are definitely looking to do that. But the important thing for all of these teams to remember is they've made it to the quarters. They're going to go into the semis. They've still got a lot of the race left to kind of go through here. It's important to make sure your mental state is clear, and though you've made it this far, it's no time to give up, and you got to just keep playing the best Rocket League that you can.
Well, as we get ready to start our first match, we also want to remind our friends on Twitch to celebrate your team, celebrate their successes, but be respectful to other fans. Mods will move anyone who violates the chat rules. And there are our 4 teams. Lynx is Hammerhead, Stingrays, and Byron Center. No matter who you're playing for, though, these teams are going to want to follow advice brought to us in the form of Doc's Keys to the Game, presented today by Esports Tower. That's going to be to create mistakes, punish overcommits, play off the walls better, and demo to disrupt. Brought to you by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched up with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. Well, we'll kick off the night with a showdown between the Stingrays and Byron Center High. It's not every day that we see kind of an independent high school team in an Esports Tower Rumble, so that's always a treat, kind of seeing that the new talent be brought in and showcased. So we'll get ready to head to the first match. This is going to be a best of 3, so could be decided rather quickly in the upper semis. So we'll head down to the field for game 1 and see what both of these teams have to offer. And is there anything that you're kind of looking forward to in maybe the first few minutes of the match?
Well, the coaches are feeling pretty good about the team lineup, especially for the Stingrays. They definitely want to highlight YY as one of their primary players, and they're working on, and they, as a team, as told to us by the coaches, are working on touches and making sure that that defense is solid. So we can expect to see probably some strong Stingray defensive play.
Well, we'll hope. Byron Center could also just counter that counter that by bringing out some great play early on. A lot of these games can be decided by an early kickoff goal if you catch your team unaware, so to speak, because a lot of players will be going off to the side to get some boosts in the standard positions. But if you have a great person to contest the kickoff and, more importantly, someone hanging back to cheat off that kickoff, then we get those very exciting 5-second, 10-second goals that can automatically lead to a rally that turns everyone's fate around.
And we talked a little bit about the Stingrays, but Byron Center is a strong team led by Tony XD. So they're definitely looking to them for advice. It just kind of is the in-game lead. We'll expect them to maybe be a prolific offensive player. This is the first time we're kind of seeing this team. So we're going to see what their in-game lead is really made of. And they also said that Byron College is really good, or Byron Center, is very good at limiting possessions for the enemy team.
Limiting those possessions, that always comes down to winning those 50s consistently, trying to read where the team is trying to pass to, interrupting those passing lanes, sometimes disrupting, maybe bumping into them. That can sometimes help. So we've got everything all set up. We'll be back with the match, Stingrays versus Byron Center. We'll be back right after this.
Home is where you hang your hat, snuggle up, hide out. Home is when you're with the ones you love. It isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home is Idaho. We grew up here, and we're proud to help more Idahoans with their home loan than any other financial institution. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe home is where you make it. Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music, and I stay here for the night. I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. You know when you keep running, but your legs are standing still. It's like you're stuck in a nightmare, but you keep doing it for the thrill. Well, this is reality, you only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred, let your thoughts be free, let your thoughts be free.
Welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena. You're watching the Esports Tower Spring Rumble. It's our first Rumble in Rocket League. We got 4 teams ready to compete in the bracket to make it toward the grand finals, which will happen next week. And whoever wins that will claim the first Esports Tower Spring Rumble title. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer, joined by Colby Alloway, and we've just about covered everything that we can setting up this match. It is the Esports Tower Stingrays versus Byron Center High School. So we've gone over all the players, we've gone over all the rosters, we've gone over all the strategies. The only thing that's left is the actual gameplay. So we will waste no time in getting into that match. Remember, this first match is a best of 3 of Stingrays versus a Byron Center. Let's head down to the virtual field and check out the action already underway.
Ball's going to bounce off the wall. It looks like essentially Bossy's going to send it over. It looks like Phantom's going to go ahead and pop it up in the air. Tony XD, one of our highlighted players, is going to go ahead and vie for it there. That's almost a shot on goal. It's just barely going to bounce off of the crossbar, but X Phantom is still going to say, we're still in this. The Stingrays are, and it looks like actually the Stingrays are going to score the first goal of the match.
That's going to head over to essentially Boss. Head into the next kickoff of the match. It's slightly in favor of the Stingrays, and oh my goodness, a whole lot of people going after one ball. Definitely a double commit there for one of the teams. Now they're having just a bit of trouble trying to corral this ball, trying to make their next play. XS Phantom's going to push a shot onto the goal, but it is saved, and another double commit on that save. Another one.
And it looks like right as we go, we're going to transition over into the blue side of the field. It looks like Light is currently in possession of the ball, going to kind of try to schmooze it around Phantom, but that is 3 Stingrays in the defensive goal, which is going to result in a massive clear all the way over to Byron Center's own goal. And then we currently see going up the sidewall, both of these teams kind of vying for control. A pinch between the wall is going to kind of send the ball up in the air, and immediately after that, down into the bottom right-hand corner.
Shot from Phantom to try to center it. The ball is a bit high. Lefty elevates up and does a big clear back off to Stingray's half. Gonna try to take it away from YY. Light him up. Still not able to get the touch he wanted. YY once again trying to find the clear. Tony takes it away from him. The ball goes yet again over to the other corner. Essentially, Boss is going to be stopped in midfield. As pace of gameplay is just kind of slowed down for this minute. No major shots on goal being made.
It looks like there's going to be an attempt at least that's going to bounce off of the crossbar, and then YY is going to get it past to them, bounce off the crossbar. It looks like Phantom is, we have XXYY there with the duo, the touch, and the next goal of the series is going to go over to the Stingrays, I believe, putting them up 2 against BC. 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining.
Light him up. Places a shot toward Stingray's goal. He's going to try to follow up on it. Up now back. Near corner. Phantom's just going to stop his dribble. Put up in the air for either YY or Centrally. YY slow playing it, however, wants to see where the ball goes.
Ooh, and with that demo, that might open up BC to kind of have an offensive play here, especially as they get the second demo onto a member with 100 boost, taking them immediately back down to 33. Lefty and Tony almost at max boost. Tony's going to kind of expend some of that, put some speed out on the field here, and then the next goal is going to send us back to our 50-50. Stingrays up 3, 2 minutes and 32 seconds remaining.
A lot of faking out on that kickoff leads it for Phantom to get a shot onto the goal. You don't often see the person willing to cheat actually ready to take the shot on goal. Double commit on that save from the Stingrays. They're going to keep Byron Center to 0 goals. Light him up, place it above YY, stopped by essentially Boss. It turns into a centering, but there isn't a follow-up from Stingrays. Light him up on the counterattack, and Stingrays get scored.
And it looks like with that, Byron Center's trying to even things up. 2 minutes and 3 seconds remaining as we go to the next 50-50. Byron Center's kind of looking to take this, but unfortunately the 50-50 will go the way of the orange. We see Lefty kind of go up to challenge the ball, and X Phantom with a laser sight on that goal. Just single touch, sends it in, and a kaleidoscope of butterflies emerges.
Stingrays now back up to their 3-goal lead. Essentially, Boss is going to take it off the wall. Lefty snags it away from him. Lefty off the wall again. No one to follow up, so Phantom takes possession. Fumbles it. Goes to YY. This is a back pass to essentially. Go back off to the back corner. Aiming out, waiting for the shot, and lefty puts a shot, another shot on goal. The shots are pretty wide from Byron Center. Despite that demo onto YY, they're having trouble finding their goal.
And it looks like this carry is so hard, we're going to kind of have a bit of a tech pause there. Currently, the Stingrays are having a pretty commanding lead as time dwindles down for BC.
Now that we're back, we have just a little over a minute left in this match, and things are getting harder and harder for Byron Center, especially since they are defending. Phantom goes in to try to get a shot on goal. It is pushed off to the side. Now we're down to just 1 minute left.
Looks like that bounce off the wall, and then immediately after that, there is going to be a shot on goal that X will block straight from midfield. You do a little bit of aerial twisty dribbling there, and then we're going to see Tony roll that ball all the way into the goal, and that's another goal for Byron Center, leading us 2-4, 49 seconds remaining.
That isn't impossible. Good kickoff here would help them. Lefty is able to get a slightly better touch on it, light him up. Follow up now with the dribble up toward the field, playing it under YY, and we've got a game on our hands again.
Back in the 39 seconds. BC's a late game team right here as we go into the next 50-50. It looks like that is going to go the way of Boss there. And then immediately after that, it's passed to Y, who just pinches it up into the air. And X is going to get the next touch and try to bounce it off the backboard. Ooh, the double commit there kind of sent the ball off flying. And with that, it is going to touch the ground, leaving us, oh, no, 24 seconds remaining. Excuse me, I thought we had exited the game. Y's going to pop it up in the air, and then Light's going to say, I'm going to even things up 4-4, 16 seconds remaining.
Oh, Nelly, they saved everything for the final 100 seconds of the game. Now a 3-goal deficit has been made back up, and the Stingrays find their footing. And they're going to put a shot on goal to Byron Center off the crossbar. Follow-up attempted by Essentially, but the ball does not go all the way across the goal line, so it doesn't count. Essentially trying again. The clock hits 0. We're heading into overtime.
And it looks like with that, the 50-50 is going to go the way of Tony, but immediately after that, the ball is sent so high in the air, everybody else just kind of clamoring after it. We see a mosh pit of cars in this corner here as X is currently in possession of the ball, and they're going to pinch it between Light and send it flying off in an unexpected direction. But Lefty perfectly anticipated that and is going to send it right into the goal, taking us only into 14 seconds of overtime.
Well, a complete collapse, I would say, from the Stingrays, and quite a rally from Byron Center. And I guess this is why, we were talking so much about Byron Center being a strong team. They're looking to have a good scouting report, trying to get into Esports Tower. And for a first impression, I would say they've shown they can give us an exciting game.
Stingray is more of an early game team. They got the first couple of goals off the 50-50, and within the first 2 minutes, they were at a pretty commanding lead. But BC really demonstrated the mental fortitude that they didn't let that get to them. They're like, all right, we're late game team. The final 100 seconds, that's what we play for. That's our strategy. Make them feel comfortable enough just to come back in and score 3 goals just in the last quarter of the game.
So that only makes me think, because I'm always someone who tries to watch out for pacing, what's the pacing of this game compared to last game. So if Byron Center is actually the one who can get a few goals early on in this game too, then I think that we could be seeing a very competitive best-of-3 be brought out. We'll just have to see if the Stingrays are able to run up a margin to get into game number 2 of this best-of-3.
Boss is going to send it up into the air, do a little bit of dribbling, to add a twirl on that, just for some pizzazz. And it looks like Light's going to try to get a shot on goal, but it will just go wide, and then immediately after that, hit the crossbar, and it looks like X is going to be the defensive wall that the Stingrays need, and then immediately after that, it's Wine turn 2 saves on goals for the Stingrays, and we're only 20 seconds in for this.
YY trying to play around 2 goalies who double commit on that save. Tony is going to be there to clean things up. Essentially is not able to stop his clear. Light him up barely with the save. A lot of pressure being placed on Byron Center right now.
So as we're in the quarterfinals, Light's going to kind of send it up in the air, but Lefty is going to get demoed, hurting a lot of pushing power for BC right here, right now. And then we see Boss just barely going to get that touch, send the ball on the correct trajectory, and the Stingrays are going to go up 1 once again.
Mid on the kickoff. Trying to get a pinch toward Byron Center. Right, carries it off to the side. Ball is high, light him up, elevate, shot on goal, deflected. Already Byron Center has 4 saves to their credit because of the early sort of in-your-face gameplay that the Stingrays have put on. There's another one they're going to get.
Such a big save as Tony's now in possession of the ball. It's immediately going to be stolen by Y, sending it all the way into the corner that nobody was ready for. And now a mosh pit of cars comes after it. Looks like Light is going to come out on top, but Phantom is just going to get enough of a bump to disrupt. And then we see Tony currently in possession of the wall, flipping off of the walls, and Boss is going to try to send it more to their own team, and then they have to do a little bit of throwing. They have to do a little bit of chasing down after that, and it looks like Lefty is the final one in goal that will save the Stingrays from going.
Phantom leaves it for YY, going for the air dribble, gets a second touch, deflected at the last moment by Byron Center. Being chased back over Stingray's corner. Light touch, used to lay off the wall. YY thinks it's passed to him, but Phantom continues to solo dribble. Gets all the way to the front corner. Off of the wall. Shot is just wide to the left. And all of that work for dribbling is going to be negated now.
Camo, that definitely hurt BC for a little bit there. Now the Stingrays are currently in possession of the ball, but Light's going to get clear all the way back to midfield, kind of volleying this ball back into the corner of the Stingrays domain, who now play a defensive game. Y is going to get a massive clear over the heads of all of BC, and now it's the opportunity for the Stingrays as all 3 members are dedicated to attack. No, scratch that! They all have to fall back to defense now, and it looks like Boss will get there in time to take possession of the ball, kind of send it over the first 2 Byron defenders, even demoing one. Now this is a relatively open net, but not open enough. Lefty's going to get the bump to disrupt, and now we're back in the hands of YY for the Stingrays' 3rd attempt at scoring.
Essentially, Boss plays it around the corner, but only light him up is there. Tony, flies over that ball. Trying to regain possession of it. Plays it past one. Demos traded back and forth between these 2 teams, and now we're under 100 seconds left, and I was just about to say this is the point where Byron Center comes alive, and they score a goal right as I point that out.
YY just couldn't get the boost they needed to kind of go it up and prevent that from going in there. But it's okay. Tied game at 1 minute and 21 seconds remaining here. We see things in the corner here. Y is going to take things up into the side, kind of like a spider, get an aerial play that just goes over the heads of everybody else. Tony says, no, we're going back on the pitch here. And then Tony currently fighting X for possession of the ball. Lefty's going to come from midfield, try to get the touch, try to get the goal. Will be unable to find that just yet. YY says not again, and is going to go ahead and kick that clear of the Stingrays' goals, just for it to be put right back in YY's hands.
Light him up, pass over to Tony in mid, but Phantom is right there. Play a bit more complicated for Byron Center. Light him up, trying to turn around for a quick shot on goal. One of the misses was flying into the Stingrays' goal. That could have been the winning shot, but Phantom sees one of his own, and it gets saved.
Like Y is going to keep things in the blue, and then X is going to get the really big clear all the way over to now have the opportunity to try to shoot some on the orange net here. Stingrays are trying to break this tie with 16 seconds remaining. Both of these teams are really feeling the pressure. The Stingrays have got to pick one up right now, and it looks like Tony's currently in possession of the ball, throwing a wrench into those plans. We see a double commit on the touch to the ball. We see the bounce off of the back wall as Boss and YY are vying for this ball on behalf of the Stingrays.
It's always... Oh my, the ball's going to hit the ground, and we're into overtime again. Game's going to overtime. Lefty is going to pass it off to the wall, but there isn't really anyone to pass it to.
Ooh, that just slides very nicely all the way up the wall. I don't know if that's what X intended, but that was smooth and clean. And it looks like Y is going to go ahead and get the touch, but before Boss can get the follow-up touch, it looks like Tony's going to be demoed as well as Lefty. That'll definitely hurt BC's rotations, and it looks like X has found the way in trying to get that dribble, but immediately after that, both of those members are going to respawn, and that is BC with all 3 members playing a hard defense in the back.
Shot on to goal, stopped at the last moment. YY has an opening here, breakaway shot, he finds it. That's going to be it. Stingrays tie it up. We're going into game number 3, but I'm seeing a lot of coordination issues between both of these teams, especially since I think that double commit that we saw from the Stingrays, you know, it's one thing if it's like a double commit in a situation where you're both trying to desperately save the ball or else it's going into the goal. Still not ideal. You never want to double commit, but I can understand in the moment, you know, you're just trying to save the ball at any cost. But that double commit was when they were engaging on the play, when they were clearing it. So that is a position where I don't think there's any excuse really to double commit in that. And it speaks to, I think, we need to see more coordination between these teams.
Got to trust your teammates and be able to pass the ball back and forth and give them their time to shine, trusting that they will, again, give you your time to shine. There's plenty of Rocket League left to be had here, especially because the past 2 rounds have gone into overtime. Everybody is going to get their chance to take shots on goal. Just calm down, let your teammate handle it, and just kind of reset, and we go next round. Each of these teams are up 1, so this is kind of a 0-0 match reset with a little bit of complications.
Yep, Esports Tower, the classic Esports Tower reset is like what we want to call it, because a lot of these games, especially the longer ones, best of 5s and best of 7s, always seem to be constantly reset with teams matching each other. But it shows these 2 teams pretty even to get into the game. YY is going to try to fall off to the side. Tony is going to take it from them, essentially whips, leaving it open for Lefty to push shot on goal. It's saved by YY.
Looks like with the touch, they will miss the second touch, and Light will take the advantage of that and be able to get a massive clear all the way over to Blue, kind of sending X to have to fight for the ball. This is all 3 members of the Stingrays on a hard defensive. Currently, Boss is in possession of the ball, looking to pass it to wide down midfield, but Tony is in net. But he won't even need to be as the ball gets pinched up into the air, back into this corner. Lefty's going to get a big clear all the way out to midfield, back to the wise, waiting tires as they're currently in possession of the ball. Going to take it all the way up to the sidewall, drive on the ceiling a little bit like an astronaut, and maybe take a shot on BC's goal.
Eventually, Boss puts a shot into the corner to center it, but YY finds himself in a bad position. Flex it away from Byron Center's goal. A whole lot of the Stingrays are bunched up in just one quadrant right here. Not ideal at all. In fact, we're just kind of seeing a shoving match right now in this corner.
And it looks like Light is going to actually almost come out on top, and then the pinch between the 2 cars is going to send it flying across the enemy field all the way over into the orange. X is going to try to set up Boss down midfield, but instead it is Light that takes possession of the ball, and X Phantom isn't able to get that touch in time. So we see Light and Boss just once again going at each other as Lefty's going to bump that and get a clear into the blue, and X says, no, I'm not done being aggressive. I'm not leaving the orange until I get a goal, darn it.
Light trying to fake it out around Light and gets him. Stingray's first goal.
2 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. BC's defense has definitely held up to the Stingrays. They've been able to kind of make them score later and later every round in the game. And it looks like Boss and Light are kind of fighting for possession of this ball right now. And then a pinch sends the ball all the way back to mid, where Lefty is currently in possession of it, bouncing it off their rear end. And Tony is going to send that into the goal, I believe.
2 minutes, 42 seconds left. Stingrays have a pretty comfortable lead, but they had an even more comfortable lead in round 1 before Byron Center rallied. Tony hanging out in mid to get possession of that ball. Now centers it, light him up.
Ooh, just barely misses the touch. Just his tires touched it, but not enough to get the goal in there. You see Tony currently in possession of the ball, bouncing off the back wall, trying to set up, light him up, and Lefty straight down main. But it looks like the ball will unfortunately be sent all the way back into orange, and now the L squad is going to have to go back to defend their own goal against Maine.
Eventually, Boss. Oh, that could have been a possible shot on a very open goal. It bounces off the front post. Another opportunity to light him up, tries to clear it, but there is no momentum behind that shot whatsoever. Leaves an easy shot on goal for the Stingrays, going up 3-0.
Minute and 50 seconds remaining. BC definitely has to adjust their strategy here as X is currently in possession of the ball. Tony's going to go ahead and save in that corner there, and then we see Y kind of spike it down, and it looks like X is immediately going to come for the next touch. Y's just barely going to miss that touch, going low under the ball as Boss sends it up into the air and drives it straight into the enemy goal. Stingrays up 4, a minute and 33 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I mean, Byron Center has shown they can good rallies, but at the end of the day, time is starting to become a real deficit for them, especially if there's one more goal scored by YY. I think that's the final decider.
That's one goal about every 15 seconds. So that's one goal about on the kickoff here is what Byron Center is looking for, and they almost get it. Just going a little bit too far to the left. The Boss is now in possession, just trying to bleed out this block. The slow rotation through the high ground, and then we see Phantom kind of taking it over the corner. Ooh, and the demo on to light him up really hurts BC's pushing power, but certainly not Boss's, as they're going to score the 6th goal of the match. A minute and 5 seconds remaining.
Quick shot on goal from Phantom. Yeah, that. I mean, if it wasn't decided before, it certainly is decided now. Complete fumble on that kickoff now puts the Stingrays up 7-1, 7-0.
Looks like the double commit from Boss and XX is going to come out on the side wall. We do see the two of them kind of split up, passing things back and forth between Lefty. It's going to go over Lefty, over to XX, and it looks like YY is rotating from goal up into the ball, sending things up into the air. We see Boss and X Phantom going in for the aggressive push, trying to make this 8-0.
One final show-off goal for the Stingrays. Phantom's going to take it. Oh.
Ooh, you see just barely a touch going in there, and then we're going to get a pretty big clear all the way to main, but his Boss says, I'm not done quite yet, and BC says, yes, you are, and they're going to at least put a 1 on the board in these final 17 seconds.
On the plus side, you've gotten 1 goal, so you didn't get completely rolled. On the negative side, this match does look like it's going to be finished with Brazil, so never a good chance. In fact, it's going to be a Brazil plus, if you will, with the Stingrays getting 8-1. Another goal for Germany, and that is going to be it for this game, I think.
Oh, Tony's going to get 1, just to make their team feel good there. Just kind of schmooves it right off the 50-50. And that is 8-2 with 4 seconds remaining. This round probably isn't going to go into overtime like the other two.
Probably not. I'm pretty confident in making that prediction. Ball just now needs to hit the ground, but of course they're going to do the traditional Rocket League dance, trying to keep it up in the air. By any means necessary, it's not going to work out. And that is going to do it. Well, you're not going to want to miss the Gauntlet Games. March's Gauntlet Games LAN is hosted at Akron University. The free event offers players a chance to compete in both Rocket League and Fortnite in the state-of-the-art Akron Esports Arena. You can score university swag and other fantastic prizes. So sign up at esportstower.com/gauntletgamesakron. That's going to do it for the first round of the Spring Rumble. Stingrays were able to regain their footing after a shaky first round. Now the next round is going to be the upper semis. It'll be Lynx versus Hammerheads in their own best of 3. But before we get to that match, we'll take a short break and then be back with more Esports Tower Rumble.
Home is where you hang your hat. Snuggle up. Hide out. Home is when you're with the ones you love. It isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home is Idaho. We grew up here, and we're proud to help more Idahoans with their home loan than any other financial institution. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe home is where you make it.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.
Welcome back to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. Broadcasting from the Boise State Esports Arena. Who will join the Stingrays in our winners finals and avoid being knocked down to the lower bracket? Well, up next will be the Lynxes versus the Hammerheads. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer, joined by Colby Alloway, calling all of the action. Colby, I'll throw it to you to tell us about our next matchup pretty soon here, go over each of the team's strengths. But before we get to that, now's the time that we always want to thank Esports Tower and pay tribute to the players who have graduated from Esports Tower Club memberships and have been offered scholarships all across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower Club members have received over $4.5 million in scholarship awards. These students have not only worked hard on their in-game play, but also academically to earn these scholarship opportunities. The players that have received these scholarships are talented, hardworking, and driven. We not be more excited and proud to see all the opportunities these players are getting. Now we have a chance to go over the matchup that we have before ourselves. Lynx versus Hammerhead. So what can you tell us a bit about between these two teams?
Well, one of the biggest strengths of the Lynxes is they are a very aggressive team that is always looking for demos, always looking to steal. They're always looking to bump, to disrupt, do anything they can to be an absolute thorn in the side of, in this case, the Hammerheads. They're looking to score goals fast and early, whereas the Hammerheads really kind of were hitting their stride at the end of the winter season as they're hoping to kind of start the spring season off with a new title. Area and Sicko are going to be the two members that you want to keep your eyes on the Hammerheads.
Well, no matter which players we're watching, whether it is Sicko or Area, all of these players are going to want to be playing at their best. You can see the bracket here, Hammerheads versus the Lynxes, to see who will join the Stingrays. And all of the players competing will, of course, have to follow Doc's Keys to the Game, presented by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched up with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. And as we're ready to head into the second game, this will also be a best of three, since we're still deciding who is going to face off against the Stingrays. So same rules apply. Could still be a best of three. I wouldn't be surprised, because it just feels like it's one of those days where everything's going to be going to the final game. It's just a hunch that I have. But anyway, let's get down to the action and see who makes the greater statement in game one. It's going to be Switch on a great sheet to score a goal immediately.
Sicko just barely couldn't get there in time. An amazing defensive effort, I do have to say, just didn't have the boost to pull out the full execution of that goal off the 50-50. And immediately after that, we see the Lynxes kind of winning the 50-50, but State's going to go ahead and get a pretty big clear. And Mustard Flick is going to go ahead and get demoed, really putting a wrench in the Lynx's offensive plans here. Now the Hammerheads are on the attack, circling like the Sharks they are, but no, there's a clear that kind of takes things all the way over, and now it is Area trying to get things back into the orange.
Area takes the shot to center. It's going to be picked off by Mustard. Past the midfield mark, Area's chasing it. Up and is now going to try to start the air dribble. Flip reset, and it's going to be stopped in midfield. Up it there by the Hammerheads.
Fitting to the defense. We see one bounce, two bounces, and then immediately after that, the ball is thrown up into the skybox, and everybody's scrambling to be the next one that lays tires on it. It looks like Switch is going to be, and that's a dangerous empty net there for Switch, but Area is going to get there just in the nick of time to make that save. But Flick says, "We're not done shooting goals yet," and Area says, "Oh, yes, you are for the time being," and immediately spikes it down. We see a bounce off of the backboard, and it looks like members of the Lynxes are unable to rotate to get that shot on goal, and instead it is State getting a massive clear all the way over into the orange, and Sicko scoring a goal in the bottom left-hand corner.
Hammerheads even it up. Still a whole lot of Rocket League left to play. Kickoff's going to go off to the side. Papasaur trying to play around two Hammerheads, now three. They're all kind of bunched up. A shot by Mustard doesn't pay dividends, although State is going to get demoed.
Looks like Area and Papasaur are going to go ahead and both go up into the side there. We see Area and Sicko kind of not double committing, but all going with the ball there. We see Area currently has possession of it, going to take it up in the air and then send it down for State or Sicko to get the follow-up, and it looks like there will be no follow-up from the Hammerheads, but instead it's the Lynxes that clear things all the way to midfield. We see Mustard Flick do an amazing dribble and then pop it up in the air just in time before it gets stolen.
Double commit by the Lynxes on that shot on goal, and both of them whiff on it too. Mistake that they're going to have to recover from. Sicko in the area moving back to defend. Switch is going to be the one with possession on the ball. Mustard hanging out center for a possible pass, but that's not going to come through just due to the Hammerheads' pure disruption getting right in the faces of the Lynxes, taking the ball away from them, although they are back in a defensive position.
Looks like Flick is going to try to get the clear. Switch is going to get hand things over to Papasaur, and then we see Area go up the sidewall, get the bounce. We see State falling up down midfield, but it currently looks like the Hammerheads' goal-scoring plans are kind of out of the water here as the Lynxes are passing the ball back and forth with a ooh, all three members were committed to the offense, but a massive clear by State is going to send them all three back into the net.
Sicko gets to that shot before Switch deep. Oh, that was a beautiful redirect by Area. Always nice to see a plan come together like that.
So running together. And then we see Sicko go ahead and win the 50-50 and send things over to Papasaur, who's going to go up the side while Area will challenge them, but just be a little bit too low. We currently have Switch at 100 boost, using a little bit of that, sending them down to 85 and now 71. As Switch is kind of maneuvering this field, looking for their way in while the ball is in the hands of the enemy.
Shot is going to be placed up high by Area. Moves in for the dribble, off the wall. No one really there to follow it up. It's going to be left for Mustard as State deflects it off to the corner. Sicko is demoed, so not as many people to pass to. Papasaur gets right in Switch's face, takes it away from him. Mustard with the attempted shot on goal whiffs.
And it looks like Sicko's going to get the bump it now. At this point, it's just a bouncing ball. Switch is going to take possession. Area is immediately going to send things away. And at this point, it's just both teams viciously vying for this ball, which State is currently in possession of. Gets the second touch, but is going to go ahead and be turned away before they can drive that goal really home. And the Hammerheads are left with an empty net. And the Lynxes are going to tie things up with 53 seconds remaining.
Papasaur gets a shot that's going to go off to the side. State, one touch on it. Moves into the corner to set it up. Area and Sicko. Area is a little bit too far forward, so add in reverse. And that's going to keep this play at bay, give the Lynxes a chance to clear it back. Demo on to Switch. Very close.
And now with that, we see the double commit of the Hammerheads kind of going up against Switch for the ball. We see State and Sicko just kind of vying for the ball right now, but it looks like it's going to go into the hands of the waiting hands of Papasaur, who's going to send send things main. Sicko's going to just get the barest minimum touch there. And then send things back over to State, who's bouncing things off of the sidewall and going to send things main. And it looks like Switch is going to be the next one in possession of the ball, whereas Sicko's going to stop it from going any further than midfield. And now we're back to State and Area looking for their way in.
I just might think here, playing it off the corner, so technically having an overtime attempted buzzer beater. Everyone went for that one. Now we go into official overtime.
And as the seconds climb up, Switch is going to not quite get the goal off the 50-50, going to go way too far to the right. Area is going to bounce things off of the sidewall, gets a first touch, second touch, and then immediately after that, the ball is going to be stolen by Papasaur, who's guarding this ball like a treasure as they send it through main field, get it clear all the way into the blue, and then into Switch's waiting tires, but State is luckily going to be able to save that goal from sailing into the upper left hand.
Area demos Mustard, but Papasaur is right there to stop an end to those, put an end to those shenanigans. State pushes it off to the side. It's going to be one of the Lynxes to move in. It's Papasaur again. Sicko and Area both moving up the field on the clear. Switch contending with them. Demo onto State. That could be a huge opening for the Lynxes. They have managed to get back a little bit of side control because of that. Don't quite know what was happening there, though. Looks like maybe a collision between teammates. Gives enough time for the Hammerheads to clear back.
A minute and 2 seconds as we continue to tick up, and it looks like the Hammerheads are currently on the offense, and Sicko's going to just barely have that goal go too high and be unable to shoot the second one. But Area says, no, we're still in this. We're still in the orange as State comes flying in, but misses the touch. So Mustard Flick is going to take advantage of that to get the first and second touches on the ball before State snatches it away, sends it to the side, and now it's the Lynxes on the attack, even as State is in possession.
30 into overtime. Bounce off of Sicko, trying to follow up on his own play. Area hesitates on that shot, however. And that leaves a clear open for the Lynxes. Possible opportunity right here, going for it, and Sicko is able to get to it before the shot on goal goes through. Another one is going to go wide off into the corner, but all of a sudden the Lynxes look to be coming alive.
Looks like State's going to get the first, second, and third touches and almost just sends it sailing completely aerially into the goal, but Mustard Flick is going to be able to save that. And they're rewarded with possession of the ball, bouncing it back and forth between Papasaur. Papasaur's gotten it past State, they've gotten it past Sicko, and now it's just Area that is the last line of defense for the Hammerheads. They will be enough as they get a massive clear all the way over to main. State is just barely going to miss that touch, and Mustard Flick is once again in possession of the ball, looking for a big clear.
We're 2 minutes into overtime on the front post, not going to get it. Switch, shot on goal, off the post. Is there a follow-up by Mustard? He's going to slow play that one. Switch once again contesting with Area. And to Sicko. Sicko's flying past that. Now he gets a shot on it. Papasaur tries to take out State. Looks like an attempted demo, but he runs out of boost. State with another dribble. Stopped at the very last moment.
That we see Flick once again in possession of the ball as both of these teams are just like racehorses running after this ball as it's still kind of in the corner a little bit there. And Papasaur is going to get our goal. 3 minutes and 1 second of overtime. This almost feels like a best of 4 because of how long that overtime was.
And I just have to say, it's kind of a rule of thumb for me. Long overtimes can kind of be the Achilles heel of many a team because it's like you're so invested, you're so laser focused on everything that when you play that many more extra minutes in a game and it doesn't go in your favor, I'd say more often than not, I'd say maybe it's like a 80-20 ratio, just in my experience, having watching. The team that wins overtime wins the series because it's so hard to mentally reset.
Especially in the very beginning. If that's your first round, with the game that the Lynxes are going to be trying to play as they try to catch up here is going to be the mental game. They're just kind of like sitting here trying to like reset after that because 3 minutes of overtime, both of these teams really wanted it and were very evenly matched, and it was just that final little touch that sent things in here. It's important to reset, go back to 0, kind of see what we can do. Act like that one round isn't even there.
Well, they're not going to have much time to reset because it is a best of 3, so perfect performance is now demanded from the team who's behind. That's going to be the Hammerheads as Lynxes go on to their match point.
Looks like as the Hammerheads are going to win the 50-50, but immediately after that, Flick is going to try to get some shots. Ooh, the Lynx is going up 1 in the first 9 seconds of the game.
That is even more of a forceful statement to get a goal that soon. Ball's going to go toward the Hammerheads' goal. A pretty clean win on the kickoff for the Lynxes. Papasaur, whips on that one, but Mustard Flick is there to back him up. Bounces off of area, Switch plays it past them. Front post, State is trying to make some room for himself. Trying to go for the double touch flip reset, doesn't get it.
It looks like Area's going to take it up onto the ceiling. Switch is going to try to challenge them, but not quite have the boost to make it all the way up there. It looks like Boost is looking pretty weak on the side of the Lynxes right now, as the Hammerheads definitely have the ability to go on the aggressive if they so choose, and it looks like Sicko's going to do exactly that with the first and second touch, but Papasaur doesn't need any boost to steal that ball right out from under them, and this is the Lynxes' peak, exactly what the coaches were describing, stealing it out from under somebody and scoring a goal, sending up 2-0, 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
The term that the coaches used was forcing their opponents to play from behind, and that is exactly what they have done to the Hammerheads. But right now, we're left scrambling, trying to make back this deficit. They're going to start with 1. It's a nice play by Area, faking out a lot of the Lynxes and getting the first goal for the Hammerheads.
It looks like State's going to win the 50-50 and kind of send things over into the corner. Papasaur is going to go all the way up on the wall, but not actually touch the ball until it touches the pitch again. Sicko is already in on the enemy team, so is Area, but Flick's going to send that ball straight to midfield where State lays in wait.
3 minutes, 34 seconds left in this match. Switch going to be looking to go against all the Hammerheads too, and I'm a bit concerned about this positioning from the Hammerheads because they can just get played over like that. I called it. And now the Lynxes are up 2.
Not quite tall enough there. And it looks like 3 minutes and 23 seconds remaining as Papasaur is just barely going to win that 50-50. That was almost a rule 1 there in Rocket League off the 50-50. And the Lynxes leave an unguarded goal.
Well, it's back to a 1-goal game. All of these goals in this third game have been scored just by positioning errors. State is going to pass to Sicko. That's a whiff on that pass, so State takes it back, trying to keep away from the Lynxes. Papasaur tries to contest with him, but can't get enough altitude. 2 whiffs back and forth between these teams. Pass by Mustard over to Switch. Nice
With
redirect.
Not with the save here, as we kind of see things over on the side. We see Sicko waiting for possession of the ball, just going to let it bounce a little bit before it's kind of at an altitude that more is the level we're looking for here. And then Area and State, the Hammerheads are all after this ball right now, as the Lynxes are all 3 on defense. As it bounces off the wall, is sent over to Papasaur, who gets demoed for their efforts, and the Hammerheads are in a massive boost advantage as they get a big clear all the way over into the orange, but no shots on goal yet.
A double commit by the Hammerheads left that potential offensive play wanting. Area, however, is going to be the follow-up that the Hammerheads were looking for. Now we're all tied up, 3 apiece with a little over 2 minutes.
And with that, the 50-50 is almost going to dance around that midline, and we'll go a little further into orange territory. Papasaur's going to drive on the ceiling. Sicko being the lone defender, going to send things back past midfield, and then with that second touch, the goal is going to come out for the Hammerheads, putting them up for the first time this round, 4-3, 2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining.
It's all on the hands of Area, who has gotten a hat trick, the first one that we've seen of the Rumble. A huge part of the Hammerheads rally back into the lead. We'll see how the Lynxes are able to reset themselves. Papasaur now going for the dribble off of the wall. It's going to be sent back toward mid by Sicko. Mustard gets a nice touch on it. Down to State. Try to drive it up to Sicko, who is going to be slow playing, actually waiting for that one. Mustard and Switch now toward the goal, off to Papasaur, who drills it in. 1 minute, 35 seconds, tied for apiece.
The Lynxes really want to take this round. They want to 2-0 the Hammerheads. The Hammerheads are trying to stop them with everything they have, tying this up. It looks like Sicko currently in possession of the ball, going to get the first touch, the second touch, kind of trying for the flip reset there, and then we see Papasaur send it up in the air right to Flick, who's going to kind of drift around that corner and get the ball stolen from them immediately by State, but then Switch steals it back and might have a shot on goal here. No, Sicko's going to get a clear pass, main field over into the orange, almost a goal as Papasaur just touches that out of the way.
area, trying to stop that clear in midfield. Switch to elevate up. Some help from Sicko, keeps the side control for the Hammerheads, but now it's heading back toward mid. State is going to try to put a shot on goal here. It's taken away from him in the last moment. That whole situation is defused. Giving the Lynx just a bit of time to catch their breath, try to play back. State is going to go for one of his dribbles again, however. Mustard is able to ground it.
With that, Papasaur is going to miss the touch on the ball and then have to rotate to it. It looks like Switch is going to try to defend the goal, but instead Flick already had that handled. Area is going to get the first and second touches before sending it down and getting the ball stolen by Papasaur. And then this is now State going up to kind of vertically challenge this ball. Sicko going to go to assist. Area getting the third touch, but the Switch in the way. Switch makes a better door than window.
No.
But that's a clear window into the Hammerheads goal that just barely is going to go too high on that crossbar.
And we could be going into overtime to decide this. Open goal, Switch is there barely in time. This is indeed going to go into overtime. Lynxes just need one goal to end this match. See if they can find it as the first kickoff is underway.
And it looks like we're over into the blue. The Lynxes are on the offensive here as Area is going to take the ball, go up to the side, and now we're getting a clear all the way over into the orange, but Mustard Flick is not able to gain the Lynxes a lot of space here as State is just relentlessly pouncing this ball at the Lynxes goal. Excuse me.
Papasaur, opportunity off to the corner. Mustard with the follow-up. It's off to Switch. Sicko wins that 50. Papasaur stops it from going across mid. Off to Mustard. There it is! And the Lynxes win that one in overtime in dramatic fashion. Congratulations to them. Well, once again, you're going to want to be interested in the March Gauntlet Games LAN that's going to be hosted at Akron University. The free event offers players a chance to compete in both Rocket League and Fortnite in the state-of-the-art Akron Esports Arena. Score university swag and other fantastic prizes, and sign up at esportstower.com/gauntletgamesakron. I got to say, I was kind of thinking that the Hammerheads were in trouble when I just saw all that bunching from them. You know, if all your players are bunched in one half of the field, you have a problem. If they're all bunched in one quadrant of the field, you have a big problem.
Because there's no mobility. Even with 100 boost, you can't go from one corner all the way back to your net when somebody gets a massive clear. And there are all kinds of different bounces in Rocket League. Even physics majors have no idea where that ball is going to go sometimes, which is why it behooves all the Esports Tower Rocket League teams to always have somebody in each of the 3 quadrants ready for any unexpected pinches, bounces, or anything like that.
Well, we have one game left. It's going to be the upper finals. Scene Race versus the Lynxes. That'll be the decider to see who goes to the grand finals. And after that, we'll have a special show match. So you're not going to want to miss all of that. We'll be back after this break with more Esports Tower Rocket League.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance. Home is where you hang your hat, snuggle up, hide out. Home is when you're with the ones you love. It isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home is Idaho. We grew up here, and we're proud to help more Idahoans with their home loan than any other financial institution. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe home is where you make it.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Welcome back to this week's Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League, broadcasting from the Boise State Esports Arena. One spot in next week's Grand Finals is up for grabs. Who will claim it? The Stingrays and the Lynx are ready to kick off our winners finals. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer, and joining me is Colby Alloway. So we've seen 2 best-of-3s, and now we move on to a full best-of-5s. And really, when a best-of-5 comes into the round, the whole dynamics of the game change.
Because it's less a battle of just who can get the first couple rounds and more a battle of kind of endurance, because you're adding an extra 2 rounds on there. So you got to not only have a strong outperforming, but you can't full throttle from round 1. You got to save some for the later rounds too.
Well, as we head into this round, Lynxes versus the Stingrays. We've already talked enough about what these teams need to do. We've seen strengths and weaknesses from both of them, but now comes the most consequential match of the night. Who is going to be sent down to the lower bracket, and who will be able to start next week from a nice position, having to watch everyone else fight for that one extra grand final spot? You get some time to relax, some time to scout out your opposing team. So we'll see who gets that honor right now as we go against the Lynxes versus Stingrays in the best-of-5. We will head down to the field to get to this game 1 of the best-of-5. Who will make the first statement? Well, let's find out right now. Lynxes, Stingrays, upper finals right now.
Go ahead and take that all the way over. It looks like it runs through the corner. Switch will be able to defend that with the side of their car, but they're not there in time for why. Sending the Stingrays up early, 4 minutes and 55 seconds remaining.
Kickoff slightly in favor of Switch. Was flying above Phantom. Trying to follow up on that play, but drops out of the air. YY with an opportunity to clear. Double commit by Stingrays. Phantom continues pushing the ball up the field. So back by Switch, though. He's been stopping a lot of these clears for the Stingrays. And a quick shot by Mustard. Evens things up.
And it looks like that we're going to the next 50-50. 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. The 50-50 will go the way of Boss here as it kind of dances along that middle line and goes up into the air. It looks like Flick is currently in possession of the ball as one of the players that we wanted to highlight for the Lynxes from last round. Always in the right place at the right time. We see Phantom currently in possession of the ball, going to get a clear all the way over into the orange, but with members demoed on either side, neither of these teams has a fantastic push. Ooh! Right as I say that, essentially Boss is going to get a shot onto the goal that just barely goes above the crossbar. Flick just barely able to slow motion stop that ball from going into the goal. Now just Papasaur sending it up into the air. Ooh, Phantom needs to go get some boost right now.
Switch centers it up, and Mustard capitalizes on it. Lynx is now in the lead, 2-1. We'll head into the next kickoff. And doesn't quite go to either team's favor, so this ball is up for grabs. Phantom is stopped by Papasaur. The ball might just go into the goal. It does. Things go from bad to worse for the Stingrays.
And with that, this next Stingrays are down to 3 minutes and 38 seconds remaining. A Switch tries to get another kickoff goal, but Phantom says no, been there, done that. Going to go ahead and take it on the side. Papasaur is going to get the next touch to disrupt and kind of ruin the Stingrays' plans here at attacking, and Switch is going to buy with Boss for the ball, but a bounce off of the crossbar makes this ball just a bit too unpredictable for Switch, but luckily Flick was there to send the defense in time, and then the ball is just barely going to go. Phantom is just barely going to get the touch, and then it looks like both Papasaur and Flick have committed to running with this ball into the blue, but it looks like Live's just going to steal it right out from under them and almost take a shot.
Mustard, ball's play. Oh my goodness, what a great shot. Mustard, laser sight focus, gets his hat trick. 3 minutes left, and the Lynxes have a comfortable lead.
And with that, we're going to see Phantom kind of take things over to the side, and then Switch immediately send that into the goal. Are we seeing some signs of life from the Stingrays here? 2 minutes and 53 seconds remaining to the full.
Switch picks up their own boost. Ready for Mustard to take the play. Quite get it. Switch still gets the clear to go through. Opsaur's hanging back, waiting for the follow-up. This is not good bunching. I don't like this, seeing this from the Stingrays. They're all too close together. That could leave a wide open opportunity for the Lynxes to score yet another goal.
It looks like with that, the ball's going to go. Ooh, Papasaur comes flying out of nowhere like a superhero and is going to spike that down and immediately bounces back up. Papasaur unable to get the second touch, but Flick is there to send things over into the blue and give the orange team a chance to score here, as the Lynxes are just nailing shot after shot after shot in the Stingrays.
The way that I'm seeing the Stingrays playing, I'm not sure that they can recover. Essentially, Boss does get a good kickoff. It goes off to Phantom. YY with the possible follow-up, but the shot is wide. YY once again, Phantom is waiting, but Papasaur comes right in there. Mustard still has to save it, however. Double commit to get that goal, and Stingrays are going to manage to get one more on the board.
That we do see now. Phantom and Flick. Flick is going to go ahead and send it over to Y, who pops things into the air. We see Y and Switch both chasing this ball down, trying to speed and be the next one to touch, but it is essentially Bossy that is almost going to roll that ball straight in bowling style, and it looks like Y is going to send things up into the air, but with no follow-up from Maine, the Lynxes have an out. They can kind of get this clear, but it looks like Phantom doesn't want to let them do that, but Flick says, let me just steal the ball right out from under you in a typical Lynx fashion. Get demoed for it though, so it seems like they are the price there as they respawn with 100 boost here, and Papasaur just kind of has to run around and get some of those orbs as Flick is going to bounce things off of the back wall as the Stingrays truly begin their offense in earnest, with all three members now rotating back to the blue half of the field from the orange.
Goes Papasaur around the corner, and he's going to get denied by essentially Mustard. Shot up high and to the right. YY, another shot. Drops down. That would have gone in the goal, but Mustard is right there. 45 seconds left. Fairly comfortably at this time period for the Lynxes. I would say the ultimate insurance for them right now is just making sure they get one clear. And Phantom is left up. A possibility essentially elevates up. It's going to be Papasaur to play it off the wall. Ball goes high again. The Lynxes just aren't contesting in midair at all with the Stingrays right now.
Looks like with that we see Flicks kind of pick it up into the air. Papasaur unable to touch, but Boss is able to get it clear all the way over into the blue, straight into the waiting tires of Y, who sends it right onto Switch's roof, but then Switch takes a detour to kind of get some boost here, and it looks like the Stingrays, in terms of boost, are setting up for an offense here as they're just kind of circling.
Timer hits 0 now. No opportunity for the Stingrays to make this goal. We're going to go into the classic keep the ball in the air game. A lot of the players like to play. And there you go. That is the Lynxes moving on against the Stingrays. They have gotten the first win, but a best of 5 allows a lot more opportunities to a comeback. And the coaches, you know, have really been talking up the Stingrays' ability to pull away from opponents, I'm told.
I think we saw the Lynxes do that a little bit more this round, so we'll be looking in later rounds to see what the Stingrays can really kind of bring to this table. They're looking to score early goals. They definitely got a lot to prove as we go into round 2.
They do, and they're going to see how well they can recover. Of course, we are seeing what we've seen, I would say mostly throughout this game, as the main problems is double commits, bunching up, all in the same part of the arena. We'll see if the teams can spread out a little, maybe call out their shots a little better as we head into game 2 of this best of 5. Still a ways away from match point, though, so plenty left to be said in this series. First kickoff in favor of the Lynxes.
And with that, we do see Mustard Flick in possession of the ball. Papasaur is going to kind of send things over to X Phantom, who's going to round that corner, get the next touch on the ball. The Stingrays are down 1. This might be the time for the Lynxes to kind of break away here, and it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do, as essentially Bossy just kind of moves and steals that right out from under them.
4 minutes, 30 seconds left. X Phantom trying to do the air dribble and flip reset as well. Essentially, he's going to get demoed. That stops Stingray's forward momentum.
that, we do see essentially Boss kind of taking things over to the sky, sending things right down to Flick. We do see Flick go up to the side, kind of do a little bit of a spin and twirl for some sparkle effects there, and then we see Flick send it back up, but it will be stolen out from above them by Phantom, who then Switch, who kind of sends things over into the orange, and now these teams are just kind of vying for the ball right in front of the orange net. Not a safe place to be for the Lynxes.
Switch moves around the corner, runs right into YY. Phantom whiffs on that shot though in center, or at least doesn't get quite the speed he wanted on it. Allows the Lynxes to clear back. Demo onto Popsaur. Leave things open. It didn't look that way, but Switch came in at the last moment, was able to save.
Looks like Popsaur is going to touch the ball, get a massive clear all the way over straight to Boss, who kind of volleys it right back, but the clear actually is going to be just as big all the way into orange net. But with all three members of the Lynxes just kind of guarding the cave there, the Stingrays are going to have a difficult time trying to send it in. And it looks like with that clear, the Stingrays' offense is kind of over as they all group up once again on this ball.
Going to go high, is going to drop right in front of the Stingrays' goal. Stingrays are going to play it off the ground. Lynxes are left chasing after it. Demo onto YY. Shot back over to the corner. Essentially Boss shot on goal, saved by Mustard.
With that, Y's going to try to fight Switch for another shot on goal, but Switch is instead just going to send it back and forth to Popsaur, who's going to be able to kind of schmooze it around XX, but not around Boss. And Boss is going to kind of send things over into the blue, but keep things in the Stingrays' hands. And right as I say that, Popsaur is going to steal it and maybe get the goal here. Yes, absolutely, with some follow-up from Flick showing up out of nowhere.
That's quite a goal for the Lynxes, considering that for the majority of the round so far, they've had next to no shots on goal. But that one is the first to go through. Adam's going to try to let it fall down into the goal. Didn't happen, so Mustard wins that 50, leaves it for Popsaur to play it up into the near corner. And it's going to be left going over toward the other side. Ball now in mid, Popsaur elevates up. It into the same corner again. Mustard trying to get up there, does manage to beat the Stingrays to the punch on that contest. But overall, it's not going to have too much to show for it.
With that, the ball is over into orange territory, and Flick just is going to go. Ooh! Man, they're going to get that shot on goal, but the Lynxes are able to successfully defend and get it clear almost out to midfield, but not a Phantom has anything to say about it, getting another shot where Switch gets another save on the board.
20 seconds left. A very narrow, uneasy lead being held by the Lynxes. They're trying to get side control back from themselves. They don't want to be in that position. Popsaur coming in to clear, to save. Now for the clear. Switch to the corner, but it's answered back by YY.
And immediately after that, we just see kind of this mosh pit of cars transition all the way in this orange end zone. There's almost not enough space for all of them, and X rotates back for that unexpected clear by Switch and almost gets a shot on goal for it, but Popsaur is able to defend, and we see X once more onto the fray here as Y's going to get the next shot on goal, and Switch is just adding save after save after save to this board. Mustard,
Yeah, I was worried about that. Mustard was the only one on the goal. He was right up on the front post. No one rotates to back. And that left the goal wide open for the Stingrays to push it in. 30 seconds left.
And we see Flick kind of send things over. The Stingrays only need one goal in 24 seconds. Or the Stingrays or the Lynxes either need one goal to kind of tie this up, to break the tie and win the round. And the Stingrays are down one, so they're definitely trying to play an aggressive game right now. But they're currently on the defensive back foot, and then Y's going to turn things around, send things over to Switch, who just added 2 more saves to the. I blinked, and the save alkaloids just keep going.
Now we're going to head into overtime. Considering the fact that the Stingrays have put 12 shots on goal right now compared to the Lynxes' 3, it would be a miracle for the Lynxes if they were to win this. They might just try to do that. They put a shot onto the front post. It bounces off. Essentially, Boss is now going to go to clear. Mustard is just hanging out in the goal. It's like a dedicated goalie. sure if I like that.
In overtime, it's definitely very high risk, high reward. So with that goalie, you lose a lot of pushing power, but you also gain a certain amount of safety there. As Papasaur and Mustard Flick are currently in the goal, we see Flick trying to get it clear, but Phantom is going to stop them and demo them for their efforts. This might be a point of vulnerability for the Lynxes, and it looks like Switch says, no, I'm going to press W into them or press my controller harder. And then it looks like X is going to bounce it off the backboard. Will there be answering follow-up for the goal? No, unfortunately.
It's like the Lynxes have lost their entire spirit in this overtime. They are not moving fast around the field. Mustard is just sticking there right in the goal. We'll see if the Stingrays can capitalize on that, put a shot into the goal. Nope. But a follow-up is going to get saved there. Again, all saves from the Lynxes. Still a pretty hefty overtime.
Minute and 24 seconds remaining. And climbing here as the Stingrays and Lynxes are 1-1. Boss tries to set up for the goal, but Papasaur is going to kind of bump them to disrupt. Looks like to do it again, and this time it's Switch that turns away the goal and gets a pretty big clear into the orange. And now the Lynxes have a little bit of breathing room, and we see the double commit on the ball. And Phantom is unfortunately going to punish them for that by stealing it, and immediately Papasaur takes the ball, sends it up into the skybox, and now we're just waiting to see what either team can do with this.
They're just sitting there. I mean, the Stingrays, at this point, they're going to score. I'm just calling it right now. The Lynxes are not playing like a team that wants to win right now. They're kind of more playing like a team that's just watching the Stingrays playing the game and making all the plays right now. 2 minutes, 12 seconds into overtime. It's just kind of a wait-out game to see if the Stingrays can actually score the goal.
Look at the goals versus the saves. The Stingrays have definitely been way more on the offensive, but with not a whole lot to show for it because the Lynxes have just been an insurmountable defensive wall to the Stingrays up until this point.
Remember that rule of thumb I said, if all of your team is in one half of the field, you could be in trouble? Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? I have no one.
Is Switch going to? No, Switch is not going to be able to send it in.
But now the Stingrays are going to get back a bit of room for themselves. Demo onto Mustard.
And it looks like, ooh, Y is going to barely be able to bump to disrupt that. Boss currently in possession of the ball. All three members of the Lynxes are once again in the goal with Flicka's dedicated goalie just kind of jumping back and forth there. We'll see if it pays off.
Had to happen. There it is.
And there it is with the Stingray goal. The Lynx offensive just wasn't aggressive enough. And that dedicated goalie, because they weren't able to stop the shot in the end, definitely ended up hurting more than it was helping.
Yeah, that's the whole issue I have with the whole dedicated goalie concept. I mean, you're thinking, oh, we're always going to have someone in the goal. Well, first of all, that means that you're always going to be going 2-on-3 in midfield. You're always going to be at a person disadvantage when you're trying to push the ball out on your field. And even the section of where you're trying to, oh, I'll get the added defense, by sitting there motionless in the goal, you take away all the momentum that your car has. That's why they always say rotate to the back post so you can drive into the ball. You have so much, even if you get a tap by just elevating up with no forward momentum,
it's not going to send it very far.
No. And the other team, you're just a sitting duck there for a demo as well.
So they can just easy kind of roll in, roll over you, and then your team's really up the creek without a paddle there. So we're seeing a lot of teams kind of rotating as a pack. I feel like we're seeing individual players less, and we're just seeing teams come at this as like a three-pronged triangle. And I would like to see some breaking up and some individual play here.
Normally, you know, you can have a main person driving up the ball. You have someone in the passing lane to play off of it. And then you have either a third person who's kind of either clearing out the goal or they're hanging back on the old goal just as a bit of defense to make sure the team doesn't rotate up too far. I mean, there are very set kind of standard rules for Rocket League. And I'm not really seeing that too much if everyone just wants to play bunch ball.
It looks like Boss is going to send things up into the air, and Phantom will answer but Papasaur is going to go ahead and steal the ball, get it clear, and then immediately it's going to be volleyed back. And is this dangerous for the Lynxes? Not quite, as Switch is going to get that save before it can even be registered.
First 30 seconds have been pretty uneventful. Switch is going to elevate up. Goes back into his own corner. Boost is stolen away from him as well by the Stingrays, so that boost starving could be leaving not too much forward momentum, which is still looking for boost at this point. And no clear has been able to find quite. Yes, this could be one, but it's stopped by essentially. Once again, Stingrays have had all the side control thus far in this game.
And with that, we're going to see Flick send it over to Switch, and then immediately after that, Phantom's going to go between the two of them and kind of steal it. That's a Stingray goal, putting him up 1, 3 minutes and 57 seconds remaining.
Next kickoff, slightly in favor of the Stingrays. Switch is going to follow the ball up into the blue territory. This opportunity for the Stingrays. Papasaur almost lets it head in there. Switch off the wall. Mustard is in there with the follow-up, but it bounces off the crossbar, and they rotate it up too far. They're going to get scored on.
I want to say that the Lynxes are being a little bit too... They were a little bit too passive, and now they're a little bit too aggressive without any defense to back it up. They're just sending all 3 members and kind of leaving their goalpost open. And the Stingrays are doing a fantastic job of playing to their win condition, which is to break away early.
Yeah, it seems like they really just can't balance the seesaw right now. They're either too far to one side or too far to the other. Phantom, though, realizing that he didn't want to be rotated up that far, so he's going to go back. Managed to get a touch on it to disrupt the Lynx's shot on goal. Oh.
That was almost another breakaway for the Stingrays there. And then we see Boss kind of send things over into that corner. And not actually be able to touch the ball for a little bit, just waiting as cars fly past their windshield. We see the mob send things straight for the Stingrays into the Lynx's goal. Once again, it's putting us up 3-0, 2 minutes and 46 seconds remaining.
YY over. Gonna get blocked by Papasaur. Papasaur now follows the ball. Phantom looking to who to pass it to. He's gonna take it himself for the air dribble. All the way over toward the near corner for the Lynxes. YY trying to center it essentially with the follow-up. Misses on it. Still, comfortable position for the Stingrays to be in. Good lead. A lot of side control. Just keep this up.
Looks like with that we see Y send it up into the air, Switch, get the shot on goal, but Y once again, without the speed, doesn't get a whole lot of momentum for a big clear, so once again the Lynxes have an opportunity, and it looks like Boss, who definitely has some momentum, is going to get the clear to midfield, and at this point Y is running up the ceiling looking for their next shot on the Lynxes goal. Ooh, but instead the Lynxes are, with a fantastic defensive player, going to send things over into the blue, and then back to the orange, and then back to the blue. These teams are just getting massive clears left and right. Oh, that's not a clear though, that's a goal.
So, Lynxes still have an opportunity to bring this back. There's only 3 shots on goal. I mean, we're seeing kind of a similar situation to what we saw last game. Lynxes trailing in shots on goal, though not as much. One thing I do have to point out is, if you look at the shots on goal compared to the actual goals for the Stingrays, they have 4 shots on goal and 3 goals. I mean, that's 75% goal rate there. That is showing kind of a breakdown in defense for the Lynxes.
But the Stingrays have, and the Lynxes actually also have 3 shots on goal and then just the 1 goal, so they're also having the opposite problem of the Stingrays. And it looks like the Phantom is going to kind of send things. Phantom is going to take possession of the ball, send things over to Papasaur, just playing in the midfield, and then we see the mosh pit of cars move all the way over to the Lynx's goal. With all 3 members of the Stingrays, they're really committing a lot to this attack, but Papasaur is just going to casually roll it out from under them all, get demoed for their efforts, and now it is YY taking on that kind of sacred torch, trying to clear things from the Hammerhead side of the field, or from the Stingray side of the field.
Half a minute left. Switch going to try to clear this out. Papasaur is next, but it's into 2 Stingrays who are just waiting for it. A demo
the
in
demo
the goal.
opens it
That
up.
was so beautifully played.
Mustard Flick, the dedicated goalie for the Lynxes, is going to get demoed, and there's not a whole lot you can do to defend your goal as you're respawning from a boom animation.
I would say that just about does it. Stingrays are going to be going on to match point. Lynxes once again looking just a bit too slow on the field. Now in the final 10 seconds, Stingrays have an opportunity for one final feels-good goal.
Even if they make this next goal off of a 50-50, they turn it into a 1-goal game, which feels a lot better than a 4-goal game, excuse me. And it looks like
it has extra player log in there. maybe the observers just got on the field. I mean, at that point, there was no possible way. I mean, the game was already decided at that point, so I'm not going to call too many shenanigans there when the score was 5-1.
definitely not a whole lot you can do other than kind of GG, reset, go next round. So what do you think was working for the Lynxes that now is really breaking down?
So I was going to say, you remember my rule of thumb that I gave, if all of your teams in one half of the field, that's a problem. If all of your half of the team...
Both teams are doing that.
Yeah, both teams are doing that. But for the Lynxes, then we move a step up. Is all of your team in one quadrant, that's a huge problem. Then I move up even one more step. If all 3 team members are in your goal, then...
There's not a lot you can do on the attack side.
And the thing is that the coaches were telling us that Mustard for the Lynxes, he can do a fantastic job of putting himself in the right place in the right time, but we're just not seeing that this round. He's kind of giving up that mentality to try to go very hard defense, but he needs to find a way to balance being able to rotate in to help his team on offense, but also not going too far in. Because like you said earlier, it seems like it's either one or the other for the Lynxes.
And with that, I think we're ready to go into the next map.
Yep, not too much more that we can say because the same problems and issues are really making themselves apparent for the Lynxes. Stingrays now find themselves at match point. We'll see if they can close it out. We're ready to head into game number 4. And the early kickoff. YY is going to take that.
Lynxes have a swap. They have Kylar now and Popstar to switch. And it looks like we still have Boss, YY, and Phantom on the side of the Stingray. So maybe that swap will kind of breathe the life into the Lynxes that they need.
Well, I think it would
They
so
go up
because,
one.
And it's Kylar, the new player, so.
It looks like Kylar's going to kind of spin, get that second touch, and then immediately set things up for switch straight down main. This is a completely different team.
Yep.
They change 1/3, and it's totally different.
I mean, that's...
You can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it. They're playing completely different right and now. Giving the Stingrays a real test if they want to actually walk away with the win.
And now with this, we see essentially Boss in possession of the ball, trying to send things to S, who kind of misses the touch and then sends it to Y. Kylar just barging in with a 100 boost here, and Papasaur with the matching 100 boost. The Stingrays are looking a little bit deficit in the boost department as the Lynxes kind of make their move and take things over into the blue.
Things have settled down as the first minute comes to a close. Papasaur trying to change that, however. Tries to dribble it around, fake some people out for a goal. Switch is going to get demoed. Now Phantom moving, Kylar blocks that. Papasaur back to Kylar. Essentially Boss and Phantom waiting to defend it.
Just barely misses the touch, goes too low coming in there. And now Papasaur still in possession of this ball, trying to keep the Lynxes push alive here, but it looks like Kylar, Papasaur, and Switch are all rotating back. We've got all members in the same third of the field here as the mosh pit of cars just sends the ball back and forth.
Essentially Boss. Over to YY. Oh, this, I don't like to see this. Those Lynxes, they're all bunched up in front of the goal. Okay, they do spread out, move to a counterattack goal. I love what I saw there, but it just didn't quite work out.
And it looks like Switch, Papasaur, and Kylar's going to rotate back, see what they can do. Kylar's definitely added a lot of mobility to the Lynx's team right now. They're no longer all 3 in the same zone all the time. We see X and Y kind of vying for the ball. Papasaur is going to go ahead and miss that touch. We see Kylar straight down main, waiting for the next touch. That's all 3 members of the Lynxes in different quadrants of the field, setting up for an attack here as Switch is going to get the initial setup and the goal. Doesn't even need any follow-up, putting us up 3-0, 2 minutes and 44 seconds remaining.
Well, well, well. Quite a comeback for the Lynxes. Though still, theoretically, at uptime. With the Stingrays to make this back. We have seen a 3-goal deficit being made up a little bit earlier. Oh, as we past the mid-time marker for this match. YY is going to move up. Trying to defend from their own goal. A demo is placed onto Switch. But even down 2-3.
Oh my! Kylar just having the bane of that sidebar there, but Switch is going to come in and get that goal. So Kylar was the swap, but it feels like they brought something special out of Switch right now with 3 of the 4 goals on the board with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining.
This would have to be an incredible comeback from the Stingrays. They have kind of the minimum 30 seconds per goal to work with now. That means that Lynxes are in just kind of 1 more goal territory, and the game is pretty much decided. See what it essentially can do. It's going to clear it out to Switch. Now Phantom setting it up. Switch is going to keep the aerial going, and YY sneaks it in there.
That's 1 goal in 20 seconds. The Stingrays say, all right, our baseline is 30 seconds. We can do you 1 better. So they're going to go ahead and win the 50-50, just barely by a small margin. As now Switch is in possession of the ball, and that almost looked like an empty net. YY was just hidden so perfectly behind the ball. Looks like essentially Boss is in possession.
Oh, that was
Kylar's not able to find the way in.
That was shaky. I did not like the look of what I saw there. Oh, but possibly, essentially, Boss is going to try to fake out Kylar. He does. It's off the front post, but there's no follow-up. Okay, but look at this shot by YY, essentially trying to get it in. All of a sudden, the Stingrays have come to life.
And it feels like both of these teams are now playing at their best as we go into round 4 here. Stingrays up. Stingrays down 3, but up 1 round. And then we see Kylar get a clear all the way into the back, get the second touch. Will they be able to get the goal? Not quite. It just dances along that line in a taunting manner as Switch bounces it off of the backboard, and then Kylar is going to take it up into the skybox, trying to set up their team for success here, and perhaps a 5th goal? No, say the Stingrays as we clear all the way over into the orange.
Well, the Stingrays, it looked like they were showing a bit of promise, but the reality of that timer ticking down is really starting to come up against the Stingrays now. If they don't score a goal right now like YY, and essentially you're trying to do. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me?
The Stingrays really want to stay into this. They didn't pull away in the beginning, but they're like, they're taking a page out of some other teams' books. Got to get in the last 100 seconds. That's where we score our goals, guys. Stingrays still down 2, 15 seconds remaining. If they can get one here and then maybe get one off of the next kickoff, the Stingrays might be able to force this into OT. But that's 1 goal every 4.
It's tough, and I think that clear there is probably going to do it. And there's no possible way the Stingrays can bring this back. Yep, we're going into a game 5.
The Lynxes had the swap and have been completely revitalized. And because the Lynxes have been revitalized, the Stingrays are also like, oh, crap. We need to play a completely different game than what we've been playing before. And so this feels like we've gone back to round 1 where both of these teams were really playing at their best.
And it seems like that first minute was probably the most decisive, those 2 goals, because after the Stingrays recovered, it was pretty even. It was just that first minute, I think, and Kylar bringing those new plays onto the field that they just weren't prepared for that tripped them up.
Ready for Kylar.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's get into game 5 now, because I can't wait any longer for this. We're going to see which team ultimately claims it. Is it going to be the Stingrays or the Lynxes? We're going to head down to the field and find out now. It has to be decided here, people. No more fooling around. Let's get ourselves the first winner
Of the spring rumble.
or the first person to get into the grand final.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, looks like Popstar trying to make something happen with follow-up, but not going to find it.
Looks like Quez has also been swapped in. Man, swaps are coming out from both teams. Now we have Boss, Quez, and YY. I think some of the fatigue is hitting in. We're kind of having some subs come in for both of these teams. We'll see if Quez is what the Stingrays need to kind of break match point here, as Kylar is going to get demoed, and they were the big ace in the hole for the Lynxes last round, as Boss is just chasing this ball down and sending it through midfield.
Switch, shot toward the goal. It's just a bit wide. I know a lot of fighting in midfield, trying to set things up, because actually in the activity feed, no one's been credited with a shot on goal quite yet.
We do see Quez currently in possession of the ball. It looks like Y is immediately going to be at the follow-up there. Kylar is just being the wall that the Lynxes need right now, but doesn't have the boots to get up. Luckily, Papasaur is going to save them the effort and get a massive clear all the way, almost touching the Stingray goal. And at this point, YY says, we play hard defense. Ooh, and Kylar's just barely going to get there to touch that. And actually, it looks like the Stingrays are going to be able to go up 1 in this first round. They're playing to their win. We're breaking away early. 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining.
Quez shot on goal, and he manages to get it. That was beautifully placed, and now the Stingrays go up 2-0.
This is anybody's game right now. The Stingrays are playing to their win con, but we know that the Lynxes can be a late game team in the last 100 seconds, scoring as many as 4 goals in Esports Tower here. And it looks like Kylar's coming back for vengeance here, getting the ball almost into the corner, but it loses a lot of momentum when it just hits that wall in the corner there. And at this point, the Lynxes are just trying to revitalize it and maybe get a shot through midfield.
Moving over to essentially, nicely played. Stingrays up 3.
Lynxes are getting bullied in this first half of the game, and it looks like this next 50-50 is going to go the way of Switch. Lynxes are trying to kind of turn the tide here, but it's Quez once again that just dribbles through the air almost all the way into the Lynxes' goal for style points.
Papasaur now looking to clear this out. Quez comes in. Essentially, the ball is grounded. YY off the wall. Quez to follow up. Takes it before Papasaur can get to it. YY is going to play it off the wall. Quez with a redirect up toward front post, but not going to get it there.
And it looks like Quez is looking for their next shot. Kylar says, absolutely not. You've proved yourself as kind of an MVP for the Stingrays right now, so we're going to try hard not to let you do anything here. But Quez says, I'm going to come in from the corner and maybe get the goal through midfield. Kylar says, absolutely not. Kylar is just on Quez patrol at this point for the Lynxes, it feels like, as Kylar and Quez just kind of go head-to-head in the air. And then this ball kind of loses a lot of momentum in the corner, but luckily rotates back out midfield. Essentially, Bossy is going to come back into that goal just to stop the Lynxes from scoring. And now Kylar's got to come up with a new plan as they're once again smacking into the wall. It is Quez.
YY places a shot on goal, a very wide open goal at that. I think that is securing the Stingrays' lead.
There were members there, they just couldn't respond.
We've seen a 3-goal lead, a 3-goal deficit be made up, but as the Stingrays proved in the last round, a 4-goal deficit is a much harder ask. And even if the other team can rally and get a few goals, I don't think that timer is going to be nice to them.
And it looks like Quez is going to go ahead and get that save, which is going to try to send it into the net, but be unable to do that as YY is just relentlessly attacking, setting up Quez main. Quez is now going to try to return the favor and set up Y main, but instead it will be the Lynxes that steal the ball and break away over into the blue side of the field. Will Switch be able to score? Just barely whiffs the touch, and so no goal is forthcoming for the Lynxes right now. 4-0, a minute and 3 seconds remaining.
60 seconds left on the clock.
Quez can be stopped in midfield on that dribble. Kylar's shot is back. In the corner, YY shot toward mid. Switch answers it back. Right now, no goals are scored by the Lynxes, and this is perfectly fine by the Stingrays. Just let that timer tick down.
We're starting to get into less than every 10 seconds a goal. The Lynxes have got to score something now, and a big clear right now could be kind of what the Lynxes need. 22 seconds dwindling down 4. The Lynxes are feeling every second like a knife as time ticks down. 16.
10 seconds left, and I would say the Stingrays have secured this. They're going to be taking it in Game 5. Moving on to next week's Grand Finals. Congratulations to the Stingrays for winning that position in our upper bracket finals, setting things all up for next week. But talking about setting things up for next week, we still have 2 teams left that kind of had a rough go at it in this early, so they're going to play one more show match against each other, just a quick best of one. It's going to be Byron Center and the Hammerheads. So just kind of a, trying a mental reset, if you will.
A mental reset, especially as everybody's exhausted after that best of 5 going all 5 rounds, several of which went into overtime. Both of the teams were so fatigued they had to pull in some of their swaps, kind of adjust their play styles. Now we get to relax and kind of have some fun with the best of 1 show match.
It's going to be Byron Center versus the Hammerheads. And after opening to the night, but to the Stingrays, who are now in the grand finals, Byron Center is feeling a bit more confident that, hey, maybe against another team we can show a bit more promise. Because sometimes you do get that unlucky draw, and you just go up against the team that goes on to win it all.
Yeah, but when you lose to the grand finalists, or the people making it to the grand finals, you can't really feel too bad. So BC definitely has a lot to prove in this best of 1.
Alrighty, ready to head into the show match. Byron Center versus the Hammerheads to close out the night. And to start things off, Hammerheads are going to find themselves pressured as Lefty places a quick shot on goal. Yeah, I can see why Byron Center maybe wanted one more game to show what they're made of.
Well, with the Knicks goal off the 50-50 in 6 seconds, we see Sicko kind of take things up into the sky. Nobody was ready for that, and it looks like Tony's going to be the first one to meet the ball as it comes back down to earth from orbit. We see Lefty currently in possession, going to volley it over to area, and then immediately after that, Lefty once again takes possession. This is BC making a hard push on the Hammerheads.
Tony moving it back. State, though, has
an empty net. Tony's able to get there first, though, and stop State from scoring. We're seeing both of these teams kind of rotate as one, which is how things like that empty net are able to happen here. And then we see Area just barely missed the touch after going up in the air to get it, and then we see State forced to rotate around Tony. Tony all the way up into the Hammerheads kind of deep fortress here. With no support, we do see Lefty currently in possession of the ball, trying to toss it up into the air from maybe one of their teammates to do something. But instead, it's going to be State that steals the ball, spikes it in, and ooh, makes an enemy of that crossbar.
Ball is left up for grabs in mid for a long time. Sicko passes it to nobody, so it's going to head up to line him up. And he indeed he does. He gets the second goal for Byron.
And with that, Byron up to 3 minutes and 37 seconds remaining here. Hammerhead's got to put something on the board. And it looks like Tony's going to try to put more on the board for BC here, as we immediately see Lefty go up to meet it. And at this point, the Hammerheads make a fatal mistake of having 2 members just sit in the goal without enough momentum to stop that ball.
What we've been talking about all day, and now Byron Center up 3-0. Light him up. He's going to set it up. Arias just sitting there and gets played over. Ooh.
I think we once again need to bring that Gems key to the game. Don't sit in the goal. You don't have the momentum to defend. If you do that, it's only a false sense of security.
Lefty, look at all this side control here being brought in. Yeah. It's I really don't have too much more to say because everything I've been talking about is kind of being proved in that last moment. And I'm a little concerned for the Hammerheads just in the fact that, the coaches describe them as a team that plays off momentum. So, once they get momentum going, they're a very formidable team. But sometimes there are teams that just have kind of a hard bit of time resetting.
And it looks like Tony currently in possession of the ball. It is going to be stolen by Area, now just kind of trying to gain some momentum out of this corner here as State and Sicko just wait in goal and don't have the momentum to stop the ball from rolling in. 5-0, 2 minutes and 6-0, 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think at this time this is kind of a playing under protest scenario here because it doesn't necessarily seem like Hammerheads are necessarily doing anything to stop the onslaught against Byron Center.
We saw State forcibly kick Sicko out of the goal where Sicko has not moved from, as both teams are going to whiff the 50-50 and the ball's just going to...
Yeah, I think at this time they both said the lead is just too big right now.
And with that demo, we do see Area currently taking possession of the ball. It looks like a little bit of life might have been breathed into these teams as we still see State just waiting in the goal, at least trying to make the noble effort of defense.
2 demos are going to go out onto Byron Center. Sicko is going to try to use that as the pretext for a clear up. State passes to Area off of the backboard. 2 minutes left in this match. Nothing really much Hammerheads can do, but maybe they can just get a personal goal of having 2 of them run into each other rather purposely by the looks of it. So at this point, the best you can hope for is a Brazil. Area is going to be able to do that.
So that's the first goal. Now we need 6 more in a minute and 43 seconds. Byron Center still up 6, 7-1 against the Hammerheads here. As Area is showing that the Hammerheads have some fight in them right now.
They have some fight and a triple commit onto Byron Center. I wouldn't be surprised at this time if they're just putting like personal challenges onto each other, because again, this is a show match. It is all just for fun, and I think after this big lead has been established by Byron Center, both these teams are just playing a little bit more laid back at this moment.
BC came with lots to show. As we see State trying to play the noble game here, we see Area just kind of trying to give the ball some momentum, is successful in getting it out of that corner after pinching it off the wall. We see State kind of send it over, and now Sicko back on the playing field has reset their mental state here as we go over into the orange, and it looks like the ball is going to go over to Tony, and State will be unable to get the next touch. The Hammerheads are looking for some sort of a goal here to kind of at least put 2 on.
Yeah, but Lefty is going to be right there on the front post to take it away from them. Shot by State over to the corner where Sicko is waiting. Not too much to be made of that as Tony takes possession. Sicko is going to pass it back to State for one final chance. And that's going to be diffused once again by Byron Center. We got 15 seconds left. Looks like a sure thing at this point that Byron Center is going to be winning this quick little show match. 10 seconds left. Not really of any offensive push from Hammerheads. They're trying to move up, but it's pushed off to the other side. Ball hits the ground, or at least needs to hit the ground. They might try to juggle it for a little bit here. But Byron Center guaranteed to get the win to close out the Spring Rumble. That's going to do it. And, of course, we have been talking all day about the upcoming event you're going to want to be interested in. The University of Akron is going to host the Gauntlet Games. The free event offers players a chance to compete in both Rocket League and Fortnite in the state-of-the-art Akron Esports Arena. Score University swag and other fantastic prizes. Sign up at esportstower.com/gauntletgamesakron. All right, so one final chance for us to call out a specific player that we can give player of the game to. And, man, you know, it could be either of the substitutions that came in at the third game.
I want to give it to Kylar, because Kylar was what they really needed in their most desperate of moments. It felt like Quez was like an answering swap to that. They're like, oh, Kylar's a problem. We got to bring out the big guns. This is full A-team as we get into this round 5 here. But I want to say that Kylar's kind of the one that started that swap and really gave the Lynxes some hope, even though they didn't end up taking the Stingrays in the end.
He played for so little, but he was a driving force behind 2 very quick goals, so there still is enough plays from Kylar.
Scores. Come on, guys, let's go.
Alrighty, well, we will see who the nod is ultimately given to for the Esports Tower player of the game. Looks like it's going to be YY instead, who YY consistently throughout the whole game was a consistent player.
And they did end up being on one of the winning teams, so I mean that shows that they're very capable in scoring all of these goals as we watch this highlight reel, and that Wraith kind of became a mainstay on the field here.
Again, the coaches say they've been really impressed with YY recently as he's done a great job in practice, improving his goal scoring and finding ways to shoot on target. YY is going to be your player of the game, brought to you by Esports Tower. If you want to hone your skills and prove you have what it takes to play at the next level, head over to esportstower.com and sign up to be a part of the action. YY is your Esports Tower player of the game. As we prepare to close out this match, any big takeaways? Stuff that we've been repeating ad nauseum.
Mosh pits are only fun if there's a rave.
I like it. I
the
like the word.
place for a mosh pit is not Rocket League.
Yeah.
If somebody's not clocking each one of your zones, and there's not a really good reason for it. You just got to make sure you have somebody in the foreground, somebody in the midground, somebody ready to rotate in the background. And you got to rely on your teammates and communicate which one you're currently occupying so they can fill the other two.
Well, I really couldn't have said it any better myself. So that's where we're going to leave it for this Esports Tower Rumble. Congratulations to the Stingrays for finding themselves in the grand finals, which will be next week. So overall, great job. Congratulations to all of these players for a fantastic start to the Spring Rumble season. Who will make it out of the lower bracket to join them? We'll make sure you join us next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we crown the first winner of a Spring Rumble. But for now, we want to also drive you to esportstower.com once again because signups are available for Esports Tower League and a free starter club for Rocket League as well, so you can start improving your skills immediately. Head over to esportstower.com. But thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your top 5 plays.